Hi everyone, welcome to Keep Calm and Crochet. Today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little ladybird. For this tutorial you're going to need plush yarn in 2 different colors. I'm going to be working this with a 5.5mm crochet hook. In addition to this you're going to need a pair of scissors, stitch marker, darning needle, 10mm security eyes and some fiber fill. So make sure you've got all of those components. Now before you start, if you enjoy watching my tutorials, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Let's get started. We're going to start off with the head of this ladybird, and for this I've chosen to work with grey colour just so you can see the stitches better, but black would be preferred. So we're starting off by making a slip knot with whatever method you prefer and chain 2. This method here is an alternative to magic ring. So if you prefer working with magic ring, then by all means start your round 1 in your magic ring. But for this method, skip your first chain and slip your hook in the second chain from your hook. Pull up a loop from there, yarn over, pull through both loops. That's your first single crochet. We're going to be working 6 of them all together. Here's second, third, fourth, fifth, and here's my 6th one. Once you have your 6 single crochets, pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches. This will bring your stitches nice and close together and you can start working in a spiral. Let's start the next round by slipping a hook in the first single crochet of our previous round. Pull up a loop from there to start round 2. So this is my first single crochet of round 2. Going back into that same stitch to work another single crochet. Now when you work 2 single crochets in the same stitch, it's called an increase. We're going to be working 6 increases in this round. Here's my 3rd increase. 4th, 5th, and final increase number 6. Once you have your 6 increases, it brings your stitch count to 12. Let's start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. I'm going to start using a stitch marker to identify the start of my round. Now this allows you to keep an accurate stitch count and helps you to know exactly where the starting point of each round is. So if you don't have a stitch marker, feel free to use a paper clip, hairpin or even scrap bit of yarn to identify that stitch. I'm going to follow the single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around. You're going to need 12 single crochets in a row to finish this round. And my final one. Once you worked your 12 single crochets, this finishes your round. And we're going to repeat that same process one more time, so we have 2 rounds of single crochets. Here's my 2nd round of single crochet. Stitch marker back in place in our first stitch of that round, and let's continue working single crochets all the way around. Now from here we're going to turn this over to make it face the right way, and we will work our final round on the head. And for this you're going to start off by working a single crochet in your first stitch, stitch marker back in place, and we're going to follow the single crochet on with a decrease. Now decrease reduces the number of stitches, so we're going to do this by slipping a hook in the first stitch here, pull up a loop, do the same with the stitch after that, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 in one go. And here's your combination. 1 single crochet, followed on with a decrease, and we're going to repeat that all the way around. Single crochet and a decrease, and for the final time, single crochet and a decrease. Now that finishes the head. So we're going to now take the stitch marker off and work a slip stitch in the next stitch like this. Let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, leaving a long tail. Pull this out of the stitch, pull this down to secure this in place. And that is the head of this little ladybird. We're going to take a minute and insert some security icing to this head. So I'm going to be doing this, making sure that the stitch that you finished with, so let's stuff this tail inside, making sure that the stitch that you finished with is facing downwards. And we're going to be inserting the eyes just after second round. So I'm going to simply insert them around just after the second round, making sure they look symmetrical, so they are equidistant from both sides. I'm happy with that positioning, so I'm going to go ahead and put the backing on from the side. There we are. And that finishes the head. Moving on to the base of the shell. For this, let's grab our grey yarn still, and you're going to begin by working a slip knot again, or magic ring method if you prefer that. Chain 2, skip your first chain and work 8 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and here's my 8th one. Once you have your 8 single crochets, pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches and start the next round. To do this, you're going to slip your hook in the first single crochet of your previous round, pull up a loop and work your first single crochet of round 2 in there. Slip your hook back in there to work an increase. Now in this round, let's go ahead and put a stitch marker to identify the start of our round, and we're going to be working an increase in every single one of these stitches all the way around. So in total, you're going to need 8 increases. Here's our last stitch. This brings your stitch count to 16. Let's start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. Stitch marker back in place. Follow the single crochet on with an increase. And this is your repeat for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, and we're going to repeat that all the way around until you get to this point here. So go ahead and repeat the combination, and once you're finished, then meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count is 24. Let's start the next round by working 3 single crochets in a row. Here's my first stitch marker back in place, second, third, followed on with an increase in the next stitch. And here's your combination for this round. 3 single crochets followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around. At the end of this round, your stitch count is 30. Let's take the stitch marker off, and we're going to fasten off by working a slip stitch in the next stitch. Let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down to secure this in place. We will be using this later to connect at the base of the shell. Now onto the shell, and for this let's grab our red color and work a slip knot and chain 2. Skip your first chain and work 8 single crochets in the second chain from your hook. Five, 6, 7, and here's my 8th one. Once you have your 8 single crochets, pull on this bit of yarn to eliminate the gap between your stitches. And once you've done that, you're going to start working in a spiral. Slip your hook in the first single crochet of your previous round. It's right here. There we go. And pull up a loop from there. That's my first single crochet of round 2. Going back into the same stitch to work an increase. We're going to be working 8 increases in this round. Here's my second increase, third increase, fourth increase, fifth, sixth, seventh, and my final one, number 8. This brings your stitch count to 16. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker in place to identify the start of my round. Follow this on with an increase in the next stitch. And here's your combination for this round. 1 single crochet followed on with an increase, and repeat that all the way around until you get to this point. Go ahead and work that and meet me back here. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 24. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch. Let's put the stitch marker back in place. Follow the single crochet on with 2 more to make the total count to 3. Once we've got our 3 single crochets in a row, follow this on with an increase. And here's your repeat for this round. 3 single crochets, followed on with an increase. And we're going to repeat that all the way around till you get to this point. At the end of this round, your stitch count should be 30. We're now going to start the next round by working a single crochet in our first stitch, stitch marker back in place. Follow this single crochet on with a single crochet in every single one of these stitches all the way around. To finish this round, you're going to need 30 single crochets in a row. Once you've done that, you're going to follow the same method 2 more times to have 3 rounds of just single crochet. So go ahead, work 3 rounds of single crochet with 30 single crochet in each round, and then meet me back here. At the end of 3 rounds of single crochet, your stitch count should still be 30, and this is what the shell should look like at this point. So we're going to take the base that we made earlier, going to turn it the wrong way around like this, coil the tail away from the edge. We're going to be connecting these 2 components together. Now this one's got 30 stitches, this one's got 30 stitches, but when you look at it from while holding it, it might seem a bit too small. However, when you stitch it together, it will be perfect. So we're going to be working 1 round of single crochets, connecting the 2 components together. To do this, you're going to slip your hook in the next stitch, guide it to go through any of the stitches at the back. So slip it in. So now if I pull them apart, I've gone through the red ones and the grey ones in one go. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. That's my first stitch connected. Slip your hook in the next stitch. Do the same with the stitch on the grey part here as well. connect them like this. And just like this, we're going to be working our way all the way around. Now we worked a few stitches. Be mindful that you do need to stuff this shell up with fiber fill. So go ahead and work this, connect the two components together like this, all the way, but leaving an inch gap. And once you've done that, come and meet me back here. I've now worked my way all the way around and I've left this much gap. Make sure that you now take a minute to stuff this shell up with some fiber fill very nice and well, because we are going to be closing this gap off fully. Let's work on this part together. So same method still. Slip your hook in the next stitch, pull up a loop from both of these and keep moving one stitch over, connecting the two components together. And here's my last stitch. Once we've connected and worked our way all the way around, fasten off by working a slip stitch in the next stitch like this. Let's go ahead and snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down. And now we are going to slip our hook from further away, make it come out from right next to where we've just finished. Loop this yarn onto your hook and pull this in. And we're going to repeat that one more time, or you could just go ahead and snip it from here, it's totally fine. But I like to make it go all the way in as much as I can. And now let's go ahead and snip the extra part and pull this in. There we go. And that completes the shell of the ladybird. Let's move on to the assembly. And for this, you're going to grab the head and thread this bit into the darning needle. Let's get some fiber fill and stuff this head up with some fiber fill as well. And once that is done, let's grab the thread and needle. And you're going to choose one place where you're going to sew this. It doesn't really matter because it's circular. It can be anywhere. We're going to be holding this right next to the stitches, so I can see the red ones and it's touching the rim of it right here. So holding it in place, I'm going to start sewing it. So catching, making sure the stitch that you finished with is at the bottom, and catching one stitch at the bottom, and so from here one stitch on the head, one stitch on the shell like this, and you're connecting the two things together, and you're going to work our way all the way around. One stitch on the shell, one stitch on the head, catch one stitch on the shell, one stitch on the head. Let's keep working all the way around now. And there we go. Once we've worked our way all the way around, you're going to catch the last stitch one more time to make the connection nice and strong. And once you've done that, you're going to catch one of the grey stitches only by itself and slip your needle into this loop that you've created with your thread and pull this in gently. And this ties a knot in place and secures your thread in. Slip it back into that same stitch and guide it to go through some fiber fill and come out from another side of the head. You can repeat the process, or you can just snip the yarn off. And I'm going to now snip this yarn off. Now the head of this ladybird is attached. Let's go ahead and squeeze the body and the head so the fiber fill is spread evenly. Let's let's move on to the finer details. And for this, let's grab another darning needle threaded with grey yarn. You are going to snip this in the, so directly at the back. So here's the head, directly in line with the back. Going to slip this in here, catch one stitch, pull this out. Now once you have lots of thread here, you're going to go all the way to the beginning here and insert it right at the tip where the grey colour is, here, and catch that stitch, pull it out from there, pull this in and down, and there we go. I'm going to intertwine these two pieces so they're not sitting isolated, because we don't want two strands. I'm going to just roll it around the same strand that's there, like this, to make it thicker, but one piece like that. And once you've done that, you're going to bring it back into that same stitch at the bottom, pull it out, and now I can go ahead and give these two strands a little knot in place. I'm going to go ahead and snip one of these shorter so it makes it easier. Now tie them into a knot. Use your darning needle to slip this back into those stitches, guided to go through some fibre fill, come out from another side of the body, wherever it comes out from. We can just go ahead and snip it from there. And the other one, because it's quite small, I'm going to just pull it in with the darning needle. Make it come out, okay, slip your darning needle from further away, make it come out from that same stitch, and just simply pull that in. Pull this out and give everything a little squeeze. Now we're going to embroider the spots and make the antenna. For this, thread your darning needle with grey yarn. Slip in from the grey part, make it come out from anywhere on the red part, and here we're going to embroider the spots. To embroider the spots, you're going to make the needle go 2 rounds down like this and come out from that same spot again. So we are going to now keep repeating this process until we have a circular looking spot. Okay, that's the second time. Third time. Each time you need to make sure that the strands are sitting side by side. Fourth. And I feel that's perfect. Once I've done my 4 strands, I'm going to slip my needle at the top part of this dot, and I can simply move the needle over somewhere else where I want the second dot to be. So just like this, you're going to follow the same process and make these little dots. So 2 rounds in between, slip your needle in 2 rounds below, and make these 4 strands sit side by side until it looks a bit circular. 2, or if it takes you more strands or more turns, that's totally fine. So we want to keep repeating this until we are happy with the dot. And there we go. I've done this 3 or 4 times as well, and I'm happy with that. I'm going to slip that back in the top part, come up from another side, and repeat the process. There are some species of ladybird that have only 7 dots, or you can go for more if you wish to, so it's entirely up to you. So follow this method and make as many dots as you like on this red part, and then meet me back here. I've now finished embroidering all of these spots on my ladybird, and this is what the ladybird looks like at this point. Here's one I made in black color. As you can see, red and black contrast is so much better. I use this grey color just to make these black stitches visible, because in black it's really hard to see the stitches. Now moving on to the antennas. For this you are going to grab the yarn, same color yarn, and your hook. Use this eye as your guideline. You're going to leave one stitch and then isolate the next stitch that's here, like this. Slip your hook from one side, make it come out from another. Loop this onto your hook, pull this out and give this a knot in place. We're going to slip our hook from further away, make it come out from that same stitch and pull this end inside the head like this. I'm going to snip this off from this side and pull it further in, and we can leave that inside like this. Now going back on this side, you're going to isolate that stitch again, loop that yarn onto your hook and pull this through, and we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. From here we're going to take our pair of scissors and snip this yarn off, pull it out of the stitch and pull this down to secure this in place. From here you're going to use a darning needle to thread this end in, and you're going to take this and work this end into this antenna by going in through one side, coming out from the other, and once you get to the base of this antenna, you're going to slip this needle straight into the head, make it come out from another side and pull this in. Now when you do that, the antler, or the antenna, sorry, will go in as well, so we want to pull that up, and we are going to slip this needle back inside the same stitch where it came from and do this one more time. Once that's done, you're going to take your pair of scissors and snip this off. And there we go. That's one of the antennas done. You're going to follow the same instructions and make the other one there, and then meet me back here. I've now finished working the antennas on the other side as well, and this is what my ladybird looks like. And this finishes your project. If you enjoyed making this ladybird with me, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.